welcome to Zandvoort. As you can see, everyone is ready for the qualifying. The cars are hitting the racetrack and we're excited. There's so much movement in this championship. It's only the second race weekend of the new season and we've got a new championship leader, which is now Franck Pereira. What a surprise, and it keeps getting more exciting. So hold on tight because we're ready for the qualifying. Do enjoy, and here are your commentators.
Thanks very much, Farina. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Zandvoort. The car's literally about to head out onto the track for the second 20-minute qualifying session of the weekend. This one to set the grid for race 2 and round 4 of the championship. So far this year, we've had 3 qualifying sessions and 3 different pole sitters and 3 different brands on pole position. We've had 3 different races, 3 different race winners and 3 different brands taking the top step of the podium. But as Farina said, it's Franck Pereira who moved back into the championship lead here with that 3rd place finish yesterday to add to the win he got in round 1. So let's take a look at the circuit then. 4.259 kilometres around here into Tarzan, the first corner. Overtaking opportunities, but there are chances to get it wrong here as well, as Paul de Resta showed back in 2007. Coming together, coming out of the turn through that S-bend section on the run downhill into the bank turn at turn 3. That banking there up to 19 degrees. You've got to get a good exit because it's straight into an uphill run on the run to turn 4. Undulations all the way around the back of the circuit, and then one of the newer features of the Zandvoort track when it was remodelled in 2020, that banked corner at turn 14 at 18 degrees. The car's flat out through there as they complete a lap of the circuit. We are just a stone's throw from the North Sea and the coastal beach resort town of Zandvoort, which is just at the back of the dunes here, and therefore we sometimes enjoy rather robust weather conditions here at Zandvoort. But on days like this, you remember just how fantastic it is to be here. It's probably going to be up to 30, 31 degrees later on this afternoon. It's been the perfect weekend weather-wise so far. Just a gentle breeze. It can get windy and blustery here, but it's been kind to us so far this weekend. Maro Engel then yesterday getting the 2nd win of his DTM career and his 1st win in 6 years in DTM, to rocket from 16th up to 3rd place in the championship. Tim Heinemann, the points leader after the first weekend at Oschersleben, couldn't score the points yesterday. He did come through the order quite well from 22nd on the grid in the first half of the race, but fell back in the second half of the race, didn't get into the top 15, and so he was overtaken by Franck Pereira for the championship lead. Franck getting his 2nd podium finish of the year. He's on a win and a 3rd so far, and it's the Frenchman, the oldest driver in the field, that will come into today as the new championship leader. Yesterday then, Maro Engel it was that qualified on pole position. He's been top of the times in all of the sessions so far. Fastest in free practice 1, fastest in free practice 2, qualifying on pole position, and other than when he dived into the pit stop, it's a lights to flag victory yesterday for him. But it was also a really good day for the Project 1 team and Marco Wittmann, qualifying in 3rd place after a pretty disastrous first weekend at Oschersleben, where they qualified low down, didn't score any points. Project 1 though, hugely successful team, predominantly in Porsche racing, but more recently in GT4 racing as well, and GT racing. And Marco Wittmann, who's long since been an ambassador for BMW, the 2-time champion, 18-time winner, getting his first points on the board yesterday with that 3rd place in qualifying, and also then managing to get 5th place in the race, although he was disappointed with 5th place because he knew there was more in it. It was on for a podium. He was pushing for 2nd place in the first half of the race. Let's see then if he can be up there again today. Tim Heinemann then, with a difficult day yesterday, heading into the pits. He was involved in quite a few battles yesterday. We got into the 1:32 in qualifying in the first session yesterday, with a 1:32.585 second lap set by Maro Engel as the quickest that we've had so far. Lucas Auer there we saw having a pretty good day as well, from 12th on the grid up to 6th position. So Mercedes won. Schubert Motorsport and Sheldon van der Linde with his first podium of the year, 2nd place finish, having to fend off Marco Wittmann in the first half of the race, and then having to fend off Franck Pereira in the second half of the race. And Franck, the final driver on the podium. Top 3 qualifying yesterday were Engel, van der Linde and Wittmann. So far, we've not yet had a flying lap time. Top of the times is 1:36.567, which is nowhere near the pace we were expecting. That's Christian Engelhardt. But yesterday, we had most of the drivers, other than a few like Dennis Olsen and Tommy Preining left it very late, left it to the last 8 or 9 minutes before they went out, waiting for the circuit to evolve before they really pushed for lap times. So let's see how this all unfolds in the remaining 15 minutes of the session. My name's Chris Hartley. Alongside me in the commentary box, it is a very good morning to Brian Oliver as we get set for what promises to be another short, sharp blast of qualifying here at Zandvoort.
Morning, Chris. Yes, short and sharp. Probably very short and very sharp because although it's a 20-minute session, as with yesterday, it does look like the drivers may be leaving it until the track evolves, until there's more rubber down, until the track is heated up. And as with yesterday, it may be the last few minutes where it all happens, but it's such a high-risk strategy, isn't it?
Absolutely right, because if you don't get a lap in and you get it wrong, you get blocked, you get done for track limits and lose a lap time, or there's a red flag, and it's happened before, then you haven't got a lap time in. Suddenly you're worried, you know, at the back of the grid, you've only got 2 or 3 minutes of qualifying to go. It's all a bit stressful, but it's what most of them chose to do yesterday, although it looks like Marco Wittmann is trying to get out there early. He'd already put a lap in. This last one was a 1:35.347. This one is going to be quicker, so he's done a 32.036 through the first sector. I think this is going to be the first benchmark time from the two-time champion as he negotiates now the Zandvoort circuit and gets a feel for how different the track might be compared to yesterday afternoon when they were racing. It's pretty similar track temperature, a little bit lower, but the air temperature is definitely a lot lower than it was when they were in action yesterday. Makes his way out through turn 12 then, and Marco Wittmann is about to get a decent lap time in here. I'm not sure it's going to be 1:32, but it's certainly going to be a big improvement on the 1:35.347. Somewhere in the 1:33s he could be if he gets the last part of the lap right, but he actually bins it off and goes into the pit lane, so aborts that one. And so over to you, Tommy Preining, to see what he can do. We've had some tweaks overnight as well, haven't we, to the BOP. The most significant tweak being to the Mercedes. They've shed, to the Audis, who've shed 20 kilograms, haven't they?
Yes, and also the Mercedes have got a 5 kilograms extra added onto them. So 20 kilograms off the Audi, that should help them enormously. 5 kilograms added to the Mercedes. Also to remind you that the 1, 2, 3 from yesterday's race will be carrying a success penalty in the race, not in the qualifying session. So grid position, even more important for Mauro Engel, because not only has he got that additional BOP 5 kilograms, he's also going to be carrying an extra 20 kilograms as a result of finishing on the top step yesterday. Sheldon van der Linde will have an extra 10 kilograms and Frank Pereira an extra 5, not for this qualifying session, but for the race this afternoon. So grid position, even more important.
Yeah, absolutely right, because 20 kilograms doesn't sound a great deal in the scheme of things. However, when it's so close on track in terms of lap times, when it's tricky to overtake as well, that's an extra 20 kilograms that you've got to accelerate out of all these corners. A lot of second gear corners as Olsen puts the first proper time of the session in, 1:33.7. That extra ballast as well, something you've got to cope with under braking, more wear and tear and weight on the tyres. It all makes a difference, as it's designed to do for the top 3 from the previous race going into the next one. So Dennis Olsen is, like he did yesterday, really going on quite early here. In the end, he trickled down the qualifying times yesterday, having been one of the drivers to set a quick time in the first 10 minutes or so. He was in the 1:33s yesterday. We thought that looks pretty good, and then everybody went even quicker than they'd gone for the rest of the weekend prior to that, and we got into the mid 1:32s. So Dennis Olsen yesterday slipped down the order and was way down in the end with a lot of work to do as he rattles over the curbs. He finished in 18th place in qualifying yesterday, so that wasn't great for him. Thomas Preining had a trip through the gravel trap as well. He was another one went out early. It was at Tarzan that he got it slightly wrong, but wasn't particularly happy with the pace of the car, but maybe this tweaks to the BOP might just help them. Let's have a look what he does when he comes over the start-finish line. It's going to be a 1:33.567. It's quick enough to go top of the times for now, but only because we've only had one other car really, the Porsche of Dennis Olsen, setting a time. I can hear engines rumbling in the background there. 10.5 minutes to go. It's starting to feel like they're all about to leave, and yet 1 or 2 leaving the pit lane now. Jerry Vermeulen, I can see, is heading out onto the track. Alberto Costa Balboa, who was impressive yesterday in qualifying, qualified 5th on his debut in the Ferrari. Could have been 3rd, he said, but amusingly, he said, I got an unexpected call from my engineer over the radio, and he distracted me on the way to one of the corners. So I put myself off in the braking zone at one point, but he laughed it off and said he was pretty pleased with that. Finished 8th in the race yesterday, but he's just heading out as well. One or two others. Tim Heinemann, I can see over on the screen, is going back out on track as well. So it's about to get very busy. It'll take them a lap or two to get up to speed. So again, it's probably going to be sort of a 7-minute shootout, this, I think, isn't it?
Yes, and it's a very different strategy to everybody else that Manthey ELMA are adopting. They did it yesterday, just chonking around when the track was relatively empty, as you already mentioned, trying to get those times down. It didn't look to be that successful yesterday, but they're doing it again today. Thomas Preining and Dennis Olsen, they've very much been out there when most of the other drivers have been in the pits. They've had a clear track, but clearly the track is not as quick as it will be later on. But now it's getting crowded, and finding space will be critical. You can see lots of cars out on the track, not a lot of room to stretch your legs as we look down the pit straight again at Thomas Preining.
Similar lap time, isn't it? So 1:33.569. How's that for consistency? The last lap he did was 0.02 of a second quicker than that. So almost identical lap times from Thomas Preining. I asked him yesterday, is it because you went out early that you were lower down the grid than we perhaps expected in 10th place? And he said, no, it's just the car wasn't there. I don't think it was anything to do with when we went out and qualified. So he comes over the crest out of turn 3 through 4, downhill then through 5, uphill towards turn 6 here at Rob. Slodemaker out of 5 through 6 down towards 7, this big sweeping right-hander at Schleivach. And actually the tyres are holding up here because that's an absolute best first sector for Thomas Preining. This is his 3rd lap now on those Pirelli tyres, and at least for now they're holding up. Whether they'll still be there at the end of the lap, we'll have to see, but he is looking to try and just squeeze another few tenths of a second out of this. It could be that the track is a bit slower as well, so we're comparing it to yesterday's times, thinking, well, he's about a second away from where he needs to be, but it might be the case, Brian, that we're not going to get down into the mid-132s today.
No, I mean, the track does evolve. There's a lot of rubber that's been laid down, but of course overnight there's been sand that's been blown across. We are right by the beach, so sand does blow onto the surface. The temperature is hot, maybe it's too hot, 21.7 degrees the track temperature, so not especially so. So many factors to change between yesterday and today, so it might be that we're not down into the 132s, but it certainly looks as though Thomas Preining is giving it everything he's got at the moment. You feel as though this is his main roll of the dice early on in the session. We've got everybody out on track with the exception of Mick Wiesover, who's now just out in the pit lane, so every single car will be out on track within a few seconds. It's going to get very busy. Yeah, so
Preining lost a tenth or so in the middle sector, but he had a pretty good final sector, so overall he shaved 2 tenths off, so 1:33.364, but Dennis Olsen might be about to challenge that. 31.8, he was 3 tenths down in the first sector. He matched Tommy Preining through the middle sector. I think he might just improve his time, but I'm not sure he's going to improve upon Thomas Preining's time. We'll find out in a second. He's about to come over the line. What does he do? 1:33.9. No, he doesn't improve at all, actually. So he stays where he is in second place, but he's unlikely to stay second for long, I would say, with everybody now about to go on to charging laps. So Preining has, rather unsurprisingly, the best time in all 3 sectors so far. 31.5 in sector 1, 33.4 in sector 2, 28.2 in sector 3. Right, here he is then, the star of the weekend, Maro Engel, now a 2-time race winner in the DTM. I spoke to him after the race yesterday, and he said, we weren't sure whether my wife was going to come this weekend. We looked at the forecast and said, if it's raining, don't bother. If it's going to be a nice weekend, come and you can have a nice time, watch me race and enjoy the sunshine and the sand here at Zandvoort. And they made the right decision, because Mrs. Engel came along, and we saw very happy pictures of her cheering happy up to the top step of the podium yesterday. So they made the right call there, didn't they?
They really did. The conditions are wonderful, and there is a party atmosphere here. Maro Engel, he has dominated Friday, both free practice sessions. He dominated yesterday. It's so unusual in modern GT3 racing and in DTM to see the same driver win back-to-back on a weekend. But the kind of form he has shown this weekend so far, he could be the man to break that trend and create the most unusual thing, and that is back-to-back victories on the same weekend. He's jumped up into second place at the moment, a 1:33.517. Still only 4 drivers in the 33s. We've got 5.5 minutes left. I think it's all going to change quite dramatically in the next 5 minutes.
Right, count them up, how many people we get on provisional pole. We've had Pryning, Olsen, and I reckon we'll probably get up to about 7 or 8, because it's going to be one of those where every time somebody crosses the line, they go on to provisional pole position. It's almost going to be the last driver over the line that gets it in this remaining 5 minutes and 4 seconds on the clock. So Maro Engel, that was a pretty decent first lap effort, wasn't it, to already get down to the kinds of times we've seen from Pryning and Olsen. Likewise, Lauren Heinrich. And on board with Patrick Niederhauser was quick enough to qualify the top 10 yesterday, but like his old teammate from GT Masters, his old championship winning teammate, Kelvin van der Linde, they both were out of position at the start of the race and had to serve a fairly early, long lap through the penalty box, which then cost him dramas. And he had another penalty later on for a pit lane infringement as well. So really frustrating day yesterday for Patrick Niederhauser, but he's definitely got pace, and as we say, the Audis are lighter with the change to BOP today by 20 kilograms, so we could expect some good things from the likes of Patrick. Ricardo Feller, who looked pretty boisterous in the race yesterday, but had to come from the middle of the grid, and Kelvin van der Linde definitely looked quick in the race to me. He was going well up until he got that penalty. He was fighting back hard throughout the middle of the race. Take 20 kilograms off those cars, I think Kelvin could be a factor today, but he's got to get the lap in yet. Sheldon and Kelvin van der Linde are 26th and 27th at the moment. This is starting to get a bit stressful now for fans of those drivers, isn't it? But Ricardo Feller has just set the absolute best middle sector. He's 25th at the moment, the Abt Sportsline teammate to Kelvin van der Linde. So Ricardo Feller just coming through, and that puts him 4th already in his first flying lap.
Oh! We got problems. Secretary Clemens Schmid. It looks like he's made heavy contact with the barrier somewhere along the way. This is going to bring out a red flag. Also, Alessia Delida also into it. Now, this is exactly what all the drivers who are waiting till late in the session. This was the risk. With so many cars on the track's probably lacking in traction at this part of the day. Yellows are out, so anybody's on a lap at the moment, they're going to lose that lap. But look at that, Delida is beached. This is going to be a stoppage in this session. Yeah, even if it's just yellows, as you say, you've got to slow down through that corner, through that section, so you shouldn't be going quicker than you've gone before, theoretically, and if you are, it's frowned upon by the officials. So that's the drama with leaving it late. Thomas Pryning will not care, because at the moment he's on provisional pole, having set that lap time a while ago now. He's in the pit lane with a 1:33.364. The session is red flagged with 2 minutes and 53 seconds left on the clock. Oh, drama.
Much to the annoyance of Thomas Pryning, Maro Engel and Lauren Heinrich, who are the top 3, much to the relief of pretty much everybody else out there.
There were 2 cars in the pits when the red flags came out. Guess which ones? The 2 Manthey EMA Porsches. They knew they had to get out there. They rolled the dice effectively, but they have their laps on the board. We've got Thomas Pryning in provisional pole, Dennis Olsen in provisional 7th place. And you can see, he's like, calm down, everybody, we're not there yet.
Well, he's not going back in the car, is he? He's already been weighed and he's got the paperwork, so he's not intending to go back out.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, hold on. Are they going to go back out? Have I done it yet? Don't know. Calm down, everybody.
So with 2 minutes 53 seconds, you've got to get an out lap in, you've got to get across the line. It's going to be all or nothing. It's going to be a 1-lap dash for grid position when this restarts, if it restarts. So many drivers completely out of position as a result of this red flag. The risks of leaving it to the end, but look who's on the provisional outside front row. Yesterday's winner, the man of the moment, Maro Engel.
Yeah, what happened then? So Evan Schmidt loses it coming out of turn 3. Onto the curbs he went, side on into the barrier. Might well be some damage to the front right suspension on that car as well, looking at the way he impacted upon the barrier. And then this was separate incident for Deleda, wasn't it? Completely separate incident.
It's up on turn 8.
Yeah.
Completely losing it. I thought there was heavier contact with the barrier for Clemens Schmid, but it looks like he's actually got away with it reasonably scot-free, as indeed has Alessia Delida. But of course, that car is going to have to be dragged back to the pits, and he's not going to be putting in a time in this session beyond what he's done already. Currently in 19th with a 1:35.
Rounded up the time, it's going to be 3 minutes of a restart. So you want to be at the front of that queue coming out the pit lane, though, don't you? Because you're at the front of the queue compared to being at the back of the queue coming out of the pit lane. That could be a difference of about 30 seconds. That could be the difference between getting 2 laps in and getting just 1 lap in the session.
Not to mention an open track in front of you.
Yes.
traffic.
Exactly, yeah.
And so, yes, it'll be interesting because there's no tyre warmers, obviously. So you may find drivers getting in the queue at the end of the pit lane quite early here as soon as we get any indication that the clock is going to be restarting. But it is going to be a very intense 3 minutes. I should think there's going to be some very nervous people in the garages. A lot of drivers still yet to put in a competitive time for this race.
And if he does it, Thomas Preining will be the first driver this season to get 2 pole positions. He was on pole position for race 2 at Oschersleben. He's qualified so far 6th, 1st and 10th, and he's on provisional pole position at the moment. Cancellation then of fastest lap time for Alessio De Leda, because he is one of the drivers that caused the red flag. So you lose your fastest lap time if you are the cause of the red flag, and that's going to be, I suspect, the same for Clemens Schmidt, because although there were separate incidents, both of them have affected. Although I suppose you could argue Clemens got back going again, didn't he?
Yeah.
So you know, there wouldn't necessarily have been a red flag because he was able to get out of the barrier, so he might be able to keep his time. It's not come on the screen yet that it's been taken away, but you could argue that both cars brought about the red flag because he was parked up at the side of the track at the time. But you could also argue, if you're with GRT and Clement Schmidt, that, you know, no, I got going again. You only red flagged it because Alessio was still in the gravel trap.
And I'm sure they will argue it. I'm just looking at the timing screen. Look who's at the bottom. I know we've got 3 minutes to go, but at the absolute bottom, the defending champion, Sheldon van der Linde, in 27th place. He hasn't put in a competitive lap time yet at 1:42, so clearly just a systems check, installation lap, if you like. So he has got a very, very busy 3 minutes, and I should think the Schubert Motorsport team are going to be plotting and scheming how they're going to get him out quick, because he's really ideally needs a couple of laps in to get the car up to temperature.
It's a minute and a half or so to get around a quick lap time. So from leaving the pit lane to getting around, you're looking at you know, at least a minute and 45 seconds if you really get on with it, I would say.
Look at the queue in the pit. See, they're already queuing up, trying to find that space, aren't they? So a number of cars already queuing in the pit lane.
I think even if you are first out, I don't think you're gonna get more than one lap in, are you? I think you're only going to have a minute and a quarter, a minute and 20 seconds. So even if you're right at the front of the queue, I don't think anybody's going to be able to just squeeze a second lap in. So it's going to be a one-lap shootout, which means they're really going to have to prep the cars and get them you know, up to temperatures, you know, on that out lap, that formation lap, so it is ready to go. The brakes are ready to go. It's a pretty hot day. It's an aggressive tarmac here as well, surface, so it doesn't take long for the tyres to get up to temperature. But you're going to get one lap, and you also, as you say, Brian, you're going to have to find some space out there on the track because you cannot afford to get delayed through one corner.
No, and it is all or nothing. One mistake, and that is going to be your day wrecked, because a start from further down the grid makes it so difficult. This is a track where grid position is so important, overtaking so difficult. If there's ever a place they don't want a late red flag in qualifying, it's here at Zandvoort, because they really need to be certainly in the front third of the grid if they want to get on the podium this afternoon.
When was the last time we had 9.3 seconds covering the whole field in qualifying? Your DTM is normally 0.9 seconds, isn't it? But that's what it is at the moment. Thomas Preining could be the first ever DTM driver to get pole position whilst having his lunch here at this race, because he's been out of the car for about 10 minutes already, hasn't he? It's been the most relaxed celebration ever, but he might not get pole position. We're about to find out. 3 minutes, but really one lap. It's going to be it was Maro Engel, wasn't it, at the front of the queue as well? It
was, yes, yesterday's winner. Well, he's showing his intent, isn't he? So Maro Engel is first out of the pit lane, wanted to get out there first, so be interested to see what he can do.
Yeah, so Preining is quickest. We know he's not going back out again. Maro Engel is second at the moment. Lauren Heinrich third. Ricardo Feller got a lap in just before the red flags to go fourth. Aingen Nguyen is in fifth place. Marco Wittmann sixth. Dennis Olsen seventh. Christian Engelhardt much better at the moment than yesterday in eighth. Kelvin van der Linde ninth. Lucas Auer in 10th place. But yeah, as you say, you've got Sheldon van der Linde plumb last at the moment, and the driver second in the championship, Tim Heinemann, not much better off than he was yesterday. Currently, he was 22nd in the end yesterday. He's currently in 16th place. Where is the championship leader, Franck Pereira, in the Lamborghini? He's not very high up either, is he? 18th position at the moment.
Yusuf Vega, who's in 14th. Well, clearly they're not going out again. They're wheeling the car back into the garage, as we expected. Alessio De Leda as well. As far as Tim Heinemann goes, understand there was an awful lot of work done on that car overnight. There were a lot of mechanical issues yesterday, so the mechanics have been working hard. He now needs to do his bit. He's 16th at the moment, the championship leader coming into this weekend, and he's got less than 90 seconds to do something about that grid position.
Yeah, less than a lap time, even for the first driver over the line, which is Ricardo Feller. So confirmation it's going to be just one lap at this. Well, Ricardo Feller, whatever happens, can't complain about traffic. There's nobody in front of him. There's nobody behind him. Abt have got him out into the perfect position here. So let's see what he can do. He's looking to get this lap off to a good start through the first sector, which takes you all the way up to turn 6. All looks very smooth and tidy and neat through turn 3, down to turn 4, over to turn 4, down to turn 5, up to 6 now he goes, and then he'll be heading towards turn 7 at Schleivat. There it's 31.7 the first sector time for him. We've had a 31.7 for Lauren Heinrich as well, but 31.597 is the best first sector one time from Preining, so he is about a 1/10.5 down at the moment through the first sector. Ricardo Feller himself has the best middle sector so far with a 33.3. Before he gets to the chicane at turn 11, we'll find out whether he has been able to match that. Keeping an eye on others, nobody's down into the 31.5s yet. It's a big ask to get them to go that quickly on a first lap. Feller is going well at the moment, and he's done the absolute best middle sector, so he's beaten himself. So he was 0.2, 1.5 tenths down the first sector. He's up in the second sector. It's going to be possibly an improvement here. The flag is now out, so that's the end of it in terms of the time. All the others are doing 31.7s, 31.8s through the first sector. So here he comes. This could be an improvement. He's already 4th anyway, but he might be about to get to the top 3, maybe the front row, maybe pole position. It's pole position, 1:33.020, but he's got to wait now, Brian, for everybody else to come through.
Yes, and none more so than Mauro Engel. Here he comes to stop the clock, and it is a 1:33.866, so that is not enough. That's 3rd place, so Mauro Engel are still in that same position. Didn't improve, but Ricardo Feller stealing the headlines at this point. The rest of the cars coming across. Kelvin van der Linde up to P9, Albert Costa Balboa in 10th. It doesn't look to me like anybody is going to improve on Ricardo Feller. They're coming to the end of their final laps. Luca Engsler next across the line, a 12th for him, but it's looking more and more like Ricardo Feller could be the man who's going to take this pole position.
And what about Sheldon van der Linde? He is down by about half a second in the first sector and another few tenths in the middle sector. It's not going to be great, this, I think. No. Through he comes, and yeah, well, he goes up, but only to 16th place for Sheldon van der Linde, who was cock-a-hoop to be on the front row of the grid yesterday. He drops down to 17th because Heinemann's gone ahead of him as well. Others still crossing the line. And from Pereira, a bit like at Oschersleben, pole position and a race win on day 1 and day 2. He's 18th on the grid as Christian Engelhardt has stopped out on track. The driver that was the second race winner at Oschersleben, that looks like he's just stopped on track, doesn't it, the Porsche? Or has he had a moment here? Goes out wide, rattles over the curves, all the way through the gravel trap, and yeah, looks like he does have at least a half spin here.
Yeah, that's on the exit of Lyondijk. It's kind of the entrance to Lyondijk. It's an unusual place to spin. He just got it all wrong and pointing up that steep banking. He's okay though. He's in 12th place, so not too bad. And the two Emil Frey racing cars getting very close to each other here.
Yes, they were indeed, weren't they? And that was Thierry Vermeulen, the only Dutch driver in the field, just nicking the back of his teammate's Ferrari. Oh, he was the wrong way around on the turn 14 banking then, Christian Engelhardt, but 12th place, as you say. Well, that was really impressive, wasn't it, from Ricardo Feller to get himself pole position. One chance to do it. Middle of the lap really was where he got all the time, found all the time there, because he was actually a couple of tenths or a 1.5 down through that first sector in a mighty middle part of the lap. And then the final sector was pretty good as well. So Thomas Preining doesn't get pole position in the end. It's a second career pole position for Ricardo Feller. His first since Imola last year. And when he was on pole position at Imola last year, what did he do, Ricardo Feller? He won the race. He's only to date victory in DTM. Maro Engel, though, not top of the times. I think he'll take that. Third place. He's going to have the weight on the car, the success ballast from yesterday, but third for him. Thomas Priding, who ended the session about 15 minutes ago, ends up second on the grid. So his second front row start of the year, but by 3.5 tenths of a second in a rather unusual qualifying session. Kudos to Ricardo Feller, because that was a mighty effort from him and the Abs Sportsline team. They timed that to perfection, and it's he improves to go on to the top of the timesheets, and he'll start race 2, round 4 of the championship from pole position. Some other interesting grid positions there as well. Patrick Niederhauser has got his best qualifying so far in 4th place. Lauren Heinrich, I think, will be pleased likewise with 5th. Lucas Stoltz is getting better all the time. We know he's a quick driver, but he had a nightmare start to the season at Oschersleben. He's 6th. Marco Wittmann not far away in 7th. Engine Nguyen in 8th will be, I think, pretty satisfied with that, and the Porsche as well. Dennis Olsen 9th. Kelvin van der Linde will be sort of so-so about 10th place, but he can do something from there and score some points. But yeah, you've got Bortolotti and Pereira down there. Pereira 18th, Bortolotti 19th, just in front of them in 17th, Sheldon van der Linde. Heinemann 16th, Auer in 15th. Some real big hitters there in the middle of the field. Let's get some reaction then down with Verena in the pit lane.
And I've got Thomas Priding here, starting in P2 in the race later on. So how does the car feel and what's in for the race?
The car feels great. I think in terms of overall potential of the car, we're still not where we need to be to realistically compete. Now we got very lucky with the red flag. You have to acknowledge that, but I'm just very happy we're at the front. The lap felt good. We made a step with the car overnight, so it was really perfect, and I'm really grateful to the team. And well, in the race anything can happen. We usually are quite good on race pace, so let's see what we can do.
Right, best of luck. Thank you. And here's your commentators.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. And there's the man of the moment, Brian Ricardo Feller. That was a superb effort. His first pole position of the season and his second career pole position. And he's looked good all season long. Didn't have a great qualifying yesterday, but he has looked racy this year, hasn't he? And there we see the top 10, Ricardo Feller, Thomas Priding, Maro Engel, the top 3. Patrick Niederhauser with the best so far in DTM in 4th. Likewise, Lauren Heinrich in 5th. Lucas Stoltz is 6th. Marco Wittmann, Engine Nguyen and Dennis Olsen with Kelvin van der Linde round out the top 10 on the grid with a rather large gap, unusually large gap for Ricardo Feller to Tommy Priding after that truncated session. Albert Costa Balboa in the Emil Frey Racing Ferrari 11th, Christian Engelhardt in 12th, Luca Engstler 13th. He's improving all the time as well, the former TCR champion. Dries van Toor stepping in for René Rast this weekend there in 14th place. Lucas Auer, last year's championship runner-up, 6th in yesterday's race, will be disappointed with 15th. You got the likes of van der Linde, Pereira and also Bortolotti down there in low grid positions. That's it from Brian and myself in the commentary box. Let's go back now to Verena.
And here I've got the winner from yesterday, starting in P3 today, Maro Engel. So, I mean, it's going to be tough. What are you going to be able to make out of the P3?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, obviously not a bad starting position again, and we'll have the success ballast from yesterday, so for sure it'll be a bit tougher, but we'll try our best and see what we can do.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Maro. Best of luck for the race later on. And that's it from Zandvoort for now. We've got the race going on later on, which you do not want to miss. It's going to be absolutely exciting. So here are the highlights, and see you later. Bye-bye.
Wir wissen, wo es lang geht. Wir sind hautnah dran.